You've been all weekend. You don't call, you don't write, you're out there dicking around with mama.
I had a great weekend.
What'd you do?
Not much. We went to, I took your advice, went to Aroma yesterday, which is pretty good.
What'd you think of them fucking Hebrews? They don't fuck around down there, do they?
No, they don't. It's a little expensive, but it was good.
What'd you get?
Shawarma sandwich.
What they put in there?
Chicken shawarma with some onions and some hummus, which you would have hated. It was delicious.
Did you have any appetizers?
No, we were pretty full.
What mama have?
She had that turkey panini sandwich they have there.
She loves her fucking paninis.
Hell yeah. But I had a fucked up thing happen last night. This guy threw rocks at me when I was driving home. He dinged my car. Wow. I don't know what happened. I was just driving home from the store. I was 2 seconds from my house. And I just heard bang, bang. And it was like this older SUV. And so he pulled over. So I went to go look at his license plate. And it looked like, in California when they have that little paper when you don't have a license plate yet.
Right.
But it was an older SUV, so I don't know why he didn't have it.
Bought it used.
And as soon as I got behind him, he took off. After me, I was behind him and he took off, so I started chasing him. But then he got behind me and started chasing me. So I had to go into a side street, turn my lights off, and I have a gate in my parking area. So I turned my lights off and I snuck in, and I didn't get out of the car until the gate closed again. I didn't know what to. I was kind of upset at myself. I was like, maybe I should have got out of the car or thrown. I didn't know what to do. Because we talked about it a while ago. How I don't like confrontation. And but we were just talking about it earlier. I talked this week, and I had a conversation with you. It's not even a bad conversation. It's just something that I'm not good when it's a serious conversation. Above me starting my podcast. The real reason I haven't started it is because over the past year I've had 2 or 3 podcasts that I'm no longer with or that aren't going anymore, and I don't like when things don't work. It's basically being scared of failing, and it was fucked up. So I was feeling bad about myself last night. I couldn't go to bed thinking I should have stood up for myself But I don't know what that asshole was going to do if he's throwing stuff on my car for no reason.
Don't fucking know. Yeah, when you're on the street, though, you don't fucking know.
Yeah.
He's having a bad day. He's looking to mess somebody else's day.
Right.
You're a sweetheart of a guy. He threw a rock at your car. So unless you got a fucking cannon or bazooka in your car or a fucking flamethrower, I don't advise people getting out, especially, It's unless you take one of John Lewis's MMA courses, then you do what the fuck you want. And you come flying out of the car with nunchucks and stars and fucking everything. What's going on, my brother, John Lewis?
Oh, man, how you doing, man? Thanks for having me on
Good
the show.
to see you. Yeah, man, you're doing great things. Everybody I talk to, John Lewis around here, no shit. So I said, if people want to fucking talk to John Lewis, let them fucking talk to John Lewis.
Here we are, man.
What's happening, little brother?
It's going good. It's going good.
What are you hearing?
Oh, man, just doing our thing, been out here, opening a new school, and just getting it going, man, acting and all of it.
Sons of Anarchy and shit with Peter Weller.
Yeah, that was fun.
Unbelievable. I put it on the one night. There you are. I'm like, what the fuck? Then you got shot.
Yeah.
Well, fucking Arab shot. Yeah. They always shoot everybody.
You think my head caved in like everyone else, at least.
Wow. Tremendous, man.
Yeah, man.
Did you audition for that?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
From scratch?
Yeah, definitely.
And for producers?
Yeah, the whole session. Double callback, whole 9 yards.
I thought you got it as a stuntman. A lot of times I go on sets and I see martial artists I know.
Yeah, it's not my interest.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? We're doing stunts. We're doing the fight scenes or whatever, so they throw you like a role in it.
Yeah, you laugh, but most of the things that I've done so far have been romantic comedies, and I think I threw one kick in one show so far. Everything has been dramas, romantic comedies, and that kind of thing. So a lot of the guys now from the UFC, they get the free pass. They're win their title, and they automatically getting called for shows, but I retired 10 years ago, so for me that has nothing to do with my acting career.
Oh, I was friends with Joe for a long time. Right. He would tell me about MMA. So I went home one night. I came from Cuba. I saw Bruce Lee. I came from Cuba. A year later, Bruce Lee came on the scene. So I came up with that mindset. I joined Kung Fu. Renato Laranja?
Yeah.
His father was my first karate teacher in New York City. Mm-hmm. So I trained with the fucking katas and the forms, and everybody was in great shape. And all of a sudden they're telling me, watch this UFC. And I put on, I see Tank Abbott in a wrestling suit, and I'm like, I'm not watching this shit. No offense to Tank Abbott. I was just expecting these, Chinese guys flying through the fucking air and stuff. So I never watched it again until one night I turned on something and I saw Anderson Silva go through Chris Liebman. And I go, I gotta see what the fuck this is about. And I've been hooked ever since.
I got him, man. Yeah, I mean, it's a story for a lot of people. When they saw that Forrest Griffin versus Bonner fight, that changed the game for a lot of people who weren't fans.
Well, it was just weird to see these guys. And, you know, at first you'd see like a jiu-jitsu guy. I didn't know fucking jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu, you gotta go like to Brooklyn, to a Brazilian neighborhood to learn jiu-jitsu in New York City. And nobody had. I remember talking to Matt Serra, and he was telling me that when he first started jiu-jitsu, he would have to take a bus on Sundays from Long Island to Red Bank, New Jersey, because that's the only place we had jiu-jitsu on Sundays. So they would drive 3 hours, basically to train 1 hour and a half, and then go right back for fucking 3 hours. And now it's everywhere. Jiu-jitsu is like dog shit. You know, you go to...
Every corner, like 7-Eleven.
Next year they'll have Jiu-Jitsu Onyx, where you jump up and down. And
I think they already have that.
Some old Jiu-Jitsu guy from the year 2000. How did you get into all this? Because you're from Hawaii.
Yeah. Born and raised in Hawaii, actually. Left it when I was 17. We can get to all that stuff, but as far as your specific question, I was fighting my whole life. Hawaii is a place that you grow up fighting, and that's a place that you can actually build status as being a street fighter, a good fighter. And me, even though I was born there, I wasn't, I'm not Hawaiian, or I'm not local per se, meaning of the majority race is Polynesian looking. So, at a young age, me being half black, half white, we'd get, racial slurs or things would happen. And I would always be quick to fight, and I'd always do well. And I, somewhere around my 5th and 6th grade year, I beat up a couple big name bullies in the area, and all of a sudden, the same people that were weren't digging on me, all of a sudden started liking me and becoming. And so that was my first I guess it was my first introduction into seeing how if you're really good at something, people's perspectives change of you. And I was young, so it mattered. So at that time, I wasn't the punk ever. I was always defending people. I was always beating up the bullies or whatever. But at the same time, I became more and more popular in Hawaii, and that became a way of life for me, is just being a fighter, At the same time, I was dancing, believe it or not, break dancing, street dancing, and all that stuff on a professional level, and growing and doing shows there and everything. And then when I got to the age of, I think it was 17, I had an opportunity to come to California to audition for a big show that ended up being in Vegas, and we can get to that. But it brought me out of Hawaii, and that was where my foundation was. Training, some martial arts there as well, but really my mentality of just fighting and wanting to experiment and see how good I could get, because I was doing very well as a natural street fighter. So I started dabbling in martial arts, and just
what was the first martial art you walked into?
It was like a shokondo, which is like a Japanese kickboxing. It's basically Muay Thai, so stand-up system. And I just had good hands. I was fast, couldn't hit me, and that combined with that, it just kept going, and I just kept wanting to get better, wanting to see what holes I had in my game, and I would just put myself out there in scenarios to see, to test myself, and it just grew. This is all way before the sport. 93 was when the UFC hit Denver, Colorado, so we're talking way before all this, and it just kind of transitioned into all of it.
And why is Hawaii such a, one of my dear friends is Earl, whatever his name is, Cooper, a black dude, Sifu Earl, and he was telling me the history of something like Kajukenbo, where I guess the Hawaiians were always smaller, so there was a naval base there.
Yeah.
So these guys have to, they would have to fight these fucking Americans that were yoked up, these fucking Midwest motherfuckers would come in there after eating steak and potatoes. So Hawaiians really worked on their fighting styles, and one of them was Kajukenbo, which is judo, Eastern boxing or Western boxing.
Yeah, they love boxing.
They love boxing, and it's just amazing that there's a system out of Hawaii, and Kajukenbo breaks into 4 different systems. There's a kung fu influence one, there's a harder one. In LA they have the brothers that really refined it. They call it a kempo, But it's why is it such a fighting environment there?
It's really funny, man. It's just as a warrior. Hawaiians, Polynesians, Samoans, that whole, that's all a very warrior-based people. So I think there's a pride there, a sense of pride there if you're really good at fighting and just combat in general and being a warrior. And the funny thing about it is, even there, if you were in those days, if you were to grab someone and fall on the ground, you'd be look bad. They'd say up and up, which means get back up on your feet. hands to hand, and nobody would jump in. There was nobody trying to stick you with knives from behind. We used to fight every Wednesday. We'd meet with another school called Lalihua, another competitive school near to us, and we'd meet under this bridge area every Wednesday, and it would be, because it's the half day of school, short day of school, and it would be, I'm fighting you, and everybody would circle around, and it would be a fair fight. Nobody would jump in, fist fight. If you go on the ground, you back up, and you just fight, and you scrap, they call it, And so it's like it's just the nature of the beast over there.
It's crazy. You have a smile on your face when you're talking about it, and that sounds like the most terrifying thing in the world.
No, it's really wonderful, man. And there's nothing more, to me, there's nothing better than that. It's like really putting yourself out there, exposing yourself, and really seeing what you're made of, And a lot of the times, my best friends ended up being, as I'm sure everybody can say this, being guys they fought when they're young, because it's such an intimate thing to be so exposed, and to, at the end of the fight, to be very clear that you lost or you won. So you can't say nothing. I mean, it's like, you're great, And then usually you become friends with the guys because it's an intimate experience to fight somebody,
It's just a different level. I remember coming from Cuba and going to karate and getting into a couple fights, and where your mind goes.
Yeah.
Like, it happens so fucking quick as a kid, where your mind goes. And then as I got older, Bruce Lee came, and we'd go to the movies, and we'd get the little tussles. And I liked it for a while. It's when I started getting older, I didn't like it. Once I got into, in my teens, I loved throwing my hands. I loved getting smacked. It's funny how you say that sometimes you fight. Like the kid that saved the kid I moved in with, my mother died, beat me up. 2 years before that, we got into a fist fight. We beat up, and he broke my nose. I hit him in the head. He bled from his eye, but he beat me up. He got the best of me. Yeah. And when my mother died, he came to me and he goes, "I want you to move in my house." So it's correct. Yeah. You take your friendship to such a level. I mean, it's not even a friendship. We weren't friends, and we became friends the next day. It was like a thing of respect. But I just didn't like it. I liked the martial art angle of it, but then it got real. Once I got to high school, it got a little too real. Like a stick could come out or a knife could come out, and that's a complete different level. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
When two kids fist fight, nobody can jump in. There's no knives. They hover around you. And after 8-9 minutes, you look at each other and go, "Hey, man, it's over." You shake hands and you go to school next day. Nobody says nothing to you. No, nobody says nothing to you.
They want people really want to see who's the better between the two fighters. They don't want you to use a stick or a knife, because they really want to see who's better. And the student follows like we do with boxers or fighters these days. One day you're like, so and so sucks, then he wins a couple of times, then he's your favorite, and then he loses, then he's overrated. It's just that you follow the winner. So in those days, I found be the winner. Be the winner, and you get friends.
How did your parents react when you were coming home with black eyes and stuff?
I wasn't. The other guy was.
Good answer.
I have a couple things every now and then, but for the most part, I was winning. So, and a couple of times I'd have other injuries, and I would say I fell off my bike or whatever, but it wouldn't change anything, because come the next day, you're the one who got to go to school, and you're the one who got to deal with the people. So, funny thing though, in high school, my mother was a campus walker, so half the fights I got in were defending my mother, whose job was to make sure things were okay. And I'm like, somebody's voicing off to her, so so it ended up being actually helped me fight even more, the fact that she was there. So it was interesting.
So you're a kid in Hawaii, the first school you walk into Japanese kickboxing.
Yeah.
And you're also breakdancing at the same time.
Yes, I am.
Donnie D's on the backup, right? All that shit, doing your thing.
Pop and lock and all that good stuff.
All that. That's fucking tremendous. So you graduated high school or no?
No, I didn't. I
left, said fuck it.
I left. Well, what happened was I had an opportunity for a specific show in Las Vegas called Splash at the Riviera Hotel, which at the time, we're talking about, I don't even know, but a long time ago. And it was the popular hotel. It was a nice hotel back in the day. And it was like, there's an audition for this thing. A friend of mine who lived out here already told me to come out and give it a shot. So it was one of those things like, which of course everybody tells you, finish school, which I definitely am an advocate of, with my son, making sure he's finishing school. But I left, I told my mother, I said, "Mom, I want to go do this. This is what I want to do, And so she was really supportive. I had a good childhood as far as, parents supporting what I did, none of those kind of sad stories. I had a good upbringing that way. It was low income, but love was there, and support was there. So she put me on a plane. I flew to California by myself, stayed at a friend's place, crashed on the floor, and never went back, and continued to climb the ladder from then on.
As a dancer?
First as a dancer, got the audition, got in the show called Splash in the Riviera Hotel. Was there for about almost 3 years at 17 years old. You know, for me coming out of living with my mom to have my own space, having what I thought was a lot of money per week, and I was just living in a hotel. We had the run of the hotel. It was just a very, very big change. Got into all kinds of trouble that you could imagine at that age with drugs and everything else. Nothing that was like, you know, put me out, but it was things, you know, things you dabble with when you're young. And all my friends were older in a nightlife kind of environment. It was very interesting. But a couple of years later, you know, I moved on to, I started doing music, and I started writing the music. My girl got a piano, and she bought it in the house. I started playing it, and I learned to play myself. In 6-7 months, I was playing pretty good, and just taught myself to play. Then I started writing music. And from there, I said, you know, I'm kind of bored of doing this. I think I want to go be a rock star. So then I shortly after quit the job, which was doing well, and packed and moved to California. Met a couple other like-minded people, started doing my thing, and got produced by a gentleman named Jerry Hay, who's a very, very big producer, the horn arrangement for Michael Jackson and Quincy Jones and everything. And a little bit after that, we got to deal with Elektra Records. Got signed, did that whole thing. Yeah.
You put an album out and
Yeah,
everything?
yeah.
What the fuck is the name of the album? Let's play
Pop
this
School
song.
Love. No, you can't find it these days. Pop School Love was the band. Me and my buddy Steve Silva. He was the lead singer, and still, I mean, I was writing for a long time after that, and then during all that, I was also fighting, and then I fought, won a title, and then I had a choice of what do I want to do? Do I want to, you know, even though you get a record deal, it's like acting. Yeah, I'm an actor. Yeah, I got a job, and then a year later, you're still trying to audition, right? So you get a record deal, you finish your album. It's so much more than getting a record deal to become a successful artist, and I was succeeding in fighting professionally. So I made a decision to let that go and focus on the fighting, and move to Vegas and open my school in '95.
All right, so now you're fucking beautiful. So now you're in Vegas. Now you get to Vegas, you're 17. Are you training at all?
I am still training, yeah.
Where are you training in Vegas?
Just like with a friend of mine named Nick One Kick, one of my buddies out there. He's still a big name out there.
One Kick.
Yeah, One Kick because he knocks guys out with a kick.
Tremendous.
One Kick to the head. And just doing that kind of thing. And before I moved to Vegas, I jumped really along, because before I moved to Vegas was all the Gracie training and a little bit of the Machado training.
So you were doing Gracie training in Hawaii?
No, when I moved, because I moved from there to here first.
Okay.
Here to Vegas to do the show.
All right.
Back to LA as a musician, and that's when I started training.
Oh, okay. When you're in LA,
I started Hicks and Gracie, and I did that for a while, and then I got kicked out of that school when I fought Carlson Gracie Jr. So they let me go because I was fighting one of the cousins, and became the first. It was considered a draw because there were no judges in those days. You had to either knock them out or submit them, or to draw. But I dominated the fight clearly. But so it was like the first person to open the eyes that Gracie could be beat, because up until then Hoist was just cleaning house in the UFC. That was instantly launched me into a different position in the independent community, because it was on pay-per-view, so people could see it. And we were fighting with no gloves. It was 30 minutes straight. It was a whole. I mean, you can Google it. It's on YouTube. Yes. And 30
minutes straight.
Yeah.
No rounds.
Yeah. No rounds. Yeah. And but it was okay. You just pace yourself through the fight, and that was where it really launched my real martial art professional career, because that put me on the map. Right up until then, it was like, who's this guy? He's gonna get killed, and I didn't, and that changed a lot for me.
And now you trained them with Machados after the Gracies.
Because I got kicked out of the Gracies. So
What Machado?
It was Carlos, and it was Roger. I'd see Hegan a lot up in Gene LaBelle's spot, and Hegan was great. He's a great martial artist. But
you walked into Gene LaBelle, a white belt in judo. Correct?
I did, yeah. John Peretti, a friend of mine, brought me to meet Gene, and me and Gene hit it off, and I trained with him up in the cabin, and that was great. What happened from so I'd see Hegan up there training, rolling with the guys, dominating everybody. He was powerful, a powerhouse, young and just powerful. And then I don't know, from there he just keeps going, man.
Well, fucking keep going. Tell me what happened after that.
Well, so I would go to Machado school, and that was cool for a moment. But
now you're a blue belt doing all this with Machado.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a blue belt, but I've been a blue belt for a while because I didn't have a home at that point. You see those guys who've been a one belt for a long amount of time. Right. And I'm also a black belt from Gene around that time, or almost a black
Gene
belt at
LaBelle.
that stage. Yeah.
In judo.
Yeah, and I was his first black belt, white to black. He's trained everybody from Bruce Lee to to Bennet the Jet and Chuck Norris, but I was, they'd come in and learn from him, but I really was a disciple from beginning to black belt.
You walked in there as
so that's really a cool honor to say, and also as a jiu-jitsu, I was the fourth American black belt in the world to get a black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Fourth American. Mm-hmm. And who'd you get your black belt from?
From Andre Pederneiras.
Now, how does he come into the picture?
Now, Andre, after fighting the Gracies, another mutual friend of ours who passed, he's a Brazilian guy. He knew Andre was doing something over there in Brazil, doing really, really well, and he just brought him over to the States to meet me and said maybe we can do something together because I needed that kind of support to grow, and no one really wanted to teach me. After I fought both the Gracies, not any Brazilians were really trying to help because it was threatening the mystique, And this guy was an open-minded guy. They said, "Man, you're good and you're a nice guy. Let's work together." And he got me up there real quick. He trained with me hard. And I'd go to Brazil and I'd stay in Brazil for a while. And I'd fight. He'd corner all my fights and coach me. And we'd come back and forth. And eventually, I got a black belt from Andre. And he launched a team called Novo Niao, which is basically means new union. But it's one of the biggest teams in the world right now. Top 5 teams in the world. We have 416 schools, and I was the president of Novo Niao for the United States. I brought it. It was only in Brazil. I brought it from Brazil to the United States, and like I say, now almost 20 years later, there's 416 different schools. That are. I don't just mean like you buy the affiliate, but I mean guys that went from under us to black belts. And this spread, and their black belts spread, and it's continues to go up. So I met Andre, and that was really the best for me because he was not holding things back. There was no, it was just, this is what you need to get to the next level. This is what you need to get to the next level, which is how I learned to teach the way that I teach. If people train with me, they realize there's no I don't have any pace as far as holding people back. It's just pretty much I can look at you, I can see what you got, I can see what you need, and I can show you something right then that will make you better right then. I literally say, one class with me is like training a month with someone else or anywhere else.
Why is that?
Because of that exact reason. I know how to articulate what you need. I know how to show you what you need, and I can see what you need. I'm not just coming there with an agenda of this, especially in a private situation where this is just a move you're going to learn. I wrestle with you the whole class. I'm on the ground with you, getting sweaty, working out, and I can feel you, and I can say this is what you got to do. And by the time that class is over, your game will have elevated. And I show techniques like that all the time. And a lot of times they're very simple strategic concepts or positions that people are like, man, I never understood that. Someone can show you something in acting. You know what I'm talking about. You can go to acting classes and try to get this one thing, and then you can meet this one, probably usually another actor who can just tell you something, and all of a sudden it's like, like, why didn't you ever say so? But it's just the way some people can articulate things better than others. And I think that's a gift that I have. I'm able to articulate my thoughts and what I'm trying to get out to someone across the board, not only in martial arts. That's just one of the things I'm good at.
Now, your mentor, Pederneiras?
Yeah, Pederneiras. Yeah.
Now, who was his? Because that was interesting. I want to ask you, when we spoke on the phone and we spoke in your class one day, was he a Gracie guy or a Machado guy himself? Or?
He is his black belt comes from the late who did I fight as Junior Carlos Gracie. I'm running a blank. The guy that I fought.
Hoist?
Gracie. No, I fought Junior. Carlson Gracie Jr. His father was Carlson Gracie that passed recently.
Right.
That was his black belt.
Yeah.
And then from him was the source. So it's the lineage is strong.
So it's basically Machado's
from the founder to
you guys, Pederneiras.
Yeah.
How important is it for a UFC fighter? Because I just got into it about a couple of years ago, and it's when you're watching it, it seems like a one-on-one this guy versus that guy sport. But when you're saying like top 5 school, how important is it when you're like as a fighter? Joey, you've been to like 4 or 5 different jiu-jitsu coaches, even as an amateur. How important is it, like what school to go to, or what camp to be a part of?
It's really important because, first of all, it's finding a teacher that you can vibe with, that you enjoy to learn from. Number one. One that really cares about teaching and that really doesn't want to just make the money, but really wants to help you get better. And then if you just got to make sure you mesh with that person. But sometimes if you get to the wrong teachers, I mean, they can teach you the wrong things. As simple as that. They can show little details they miss, or they can show you techniques without the details that when you try to do it, you're like, man, it's not working for me. It's not working for me. But then all of a sudden, someone else can show you this one little, because you didn't turn your hip literally, you didn't turn your hip like this. And all of a sudden, the move is totally different. And Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like that. It's a kind of this situation where you have to do all the little details, and if you understand the movement of the body and where you should be and where your weight should be, the move can totally change. If I'm over somebody, I'm just going to use a random concept, just someone's under me and I'm over them, if I'm right here, I'm pretty wobbly, because they can throw me either direction based on the technique. If I'm right here, I'm heavy to lift this direction. So someone can show you a move about passing, we call it passing the guard, getting around the guy's legs, but they're in the wrong place. You'll try it on your friend, and your friend will throw you over, and a few times later, you're like, this doesn't work, but that's just because you weren't here. You went from here to here, and all of a sudden, he can't move you. So those are the details that takes a teacher that really has the patience and want for you to really understand the details, and that's how I teach. I want you to learn, exactly. I mean, you're a reflection on me. My black belt's a reflection on me.
Are you allowed to, as a fighter, go from camp to camp to learn different things?
That's up to the teachers. I personally advocate it. I don't mind at all. I'd like my students to represent me when they're competing, so we're under one banner. But I have no problem with people going and experimenting, because I grew up that way, going to different schools. I have black belts from many different in arts, and that's part of why I'm good. So for me to tell someone they shouldn't would be kind of hypocritical. I love the loyalty of my student to know that I'm where they get their belt from. They don't jump and get belts from blue from me and purple from him, and But please go out and experiment, and maybe even bring something back that you can share.
It's amazing how this is an art. I hate when people call themselves artists. That drives me fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. But all these arts go hand in hand. How much does jiu-jitsu and judo help your music? How much does it enlighten it for you to, just by, when I leave Dave, and Dave just went over an armbar with me, and I'm driving up Laurel Canyon, and my mind's going about that armbar. Jesus Christ, I learned it over here, and he was right. I didn't, Dave taught me, I couldn't armbar anybody. Yeah. All of a sudden Dave goes, you gotta get on the fucking angle. You're trying to armbar me from in front of you. What the fuck are you doing? Who taught you this?
Turn this far.
Yeah, this far. And all of a sudden you're like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm talking about.
But what people don't seem to understand, it's like somebody emailed me a month ago about, when you go to this, they send you all these math classes. I go, that's to make your mind analytical, you dumb fuck. Mm-hmm. Your wife is an attorney. Her pre-attorney, she had to take a fucking ton of math classes. Right. Ask her. Right. Calculus and shit. What's calculus got to do with fucking suing somebody for slipping on the stairs?
Right, it opens
your mind. And I know for a fucking fact that, whatever, I've done comedy for a long time, but ever since I joined jiu-jitsu, my comedy went somewhere else. Ever since I saw MMA and I became a fan of certain fighters, it made me stronger, because I would get pissed off because they didn't learn something from the last fight. So if I'm smacking you with a fucking left jab, Jesus Christ, the whole last fight, and this guy saw that tape, I hope that you learn how to fucking protect away from that left jab. Maybe to work to your right, or put your fucking opposite hand up higher. When I see a fighter come in and do the same shit and then start throwing spinning back punches, that move gets my blood pressure fucking going.
That's the
except for Joe Schilling. Did you see Joe Schilling the other night? He knocked the motherfucker out with it. But when you just come in and do the same shit and think because you're doing a spinning backhand that I'm supposed to fall off my chair, and then you get beat up. Yeah. I think a stand-up. And I think you're going to go up there with that same stupid fucking joke? Really? You got some pair of fucking balls. It's helped me. It's helped me. Yeah. And did it help you with the music?
It's funny. I'm not even going to say with the music, but I'm just going to say in general, life-wise. Like, I'm the kind of guy that I've launched many different careers, as well as you'll find out over our conversation, and I'm the kind of guy that just you go and you commit 100%. And I was just this morning speaking about the very thing you're talking about, and I said to someone that before I get in a fight, I'm getting ready for it, I'm training for it, I'm all amped up. You get to backstage for 6 hours or so before the match starts, and then eventually, the closer it gets, the butterflies start. They always were there. No matter how many times I've fought, Always nervous. And it's healthy as long as
That's
you know,
healthy.
as long as you can control it. It's healthy, right? You don't let it consume you, because we all have what you said earlier, which is this fear of failure. We all have this. The difference is some people can take it and make it power, and others let it beat them and freeze them. Which is the stage fright concept. So in this situation, you get backstage and you have butterflies, you're nervous, but you're like, oh man, I got to do this, and you start you're getting hyped up, and you're moving backstage. They call your name, and you start walking out in front of all these thousands and people and millions watching you on TV, and you're nervous, But once you step in the cage and the door shuts, this is always what I say to myself: okay, I'm in the cage now. There's no turning back. I can't get out, so I may as well win, because she's gonna try to take my head off, or I have to take his head off. At this point, there's no other choices. So that's how I look at life. It's like when you pick something and you commit to something and you go that direction, once you're in, you're in. Once you step on the stage
it's
in
over.
comedy,
There ain't no
you
fucking
ain't
coming back.
Well, if you back off, you're lost.
You lost.
So you're here now. You might as well just let it all go and go out like a man, or win like a man. So that mentality of, I tell myself, I'm in the cage now. Might as well win. I'm in the cage. I might as well win. Don't bitch about what you're doing. You're in the cage. So I can either win or I can lose. I think I'll win.
With all the technology they have, and Martians and fucking spaceships, the only fucking thing I want them to make is a thought thing that I could see. Because this is what makes my dick hard. Is, what you just described. The 5 minutes before you throw that punch, when fucking Dean looks at you, or John McCarthy looks at you and says, you ready, you ready? And when you walk back to that ring backwards, what the fuck is in your mind? The same thing when I get to a thing. Hey, man, what's up, John? Oh, shit, the Flying Jew's here. How's the audience? The audience great. And you're killing. But once Lee comes off, that's when it's real.
Yeah.
Once Lee comes off in the MC, it's real. And this motherfucker's still talking to me about his wife and about his kids, and it's bouncing off you.
Right.
They don't realize that
Yeah.
your mind is just seeing fucking battle. And all of a sudden you go up, you whatever your shirt, you pop because your ball stuck to your leg, you pop it off, and they say your fucking name, and that's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. I want to see the pop-up. You ever watch like VH1 pop-up videos? Yeah. I want to see all the things in your head. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I want to see all that. Because for me, it's fucking tremendous. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That fear. And I tell him all the time, listen, whatever bullshit you see on stage, when I get in my car to drive to that gig, I think of every fucking excuse in the world, because that's what you naturally do. That's what your mind naturally does. Why am I doing this? I'm a loser. I'm going to get a job tomorrow. This sucks. Why am I 50 still doing stand-up? I should be a fucking director. You get all and the closer you get to Laurel Canyon, and once I make that left onto Laurel Canyon, that's when everything comes out. That's when it's in full volume. You're a loser. You did this. Your mother sucks. It just... And then once you hit Laurel Canyon, like, fuck it, I'm going down there. I'm just going to go down there and take the beating. That's when you forget all your jokes.
It's true.
You have no fucking idea, Lee. How many times have I called you from a place and said, Lee, what jokes do I say tonight? You're not even a fucking comic.
No matter how much you practice.
Doesn't
matter.
It just goes away.
Like every couple of weeks you call me.
People don't fucking understand. And then you get there and they say your name, and that's a different process. And all of those feelings, all that I just told you, those 18, 20 minutes, is a ball, and it just keeps spinning. And something, as soon as I grab that microphone, and I go, what's up, motherfuckers? That's it. It all comes one. It becomes one.
Yeah.
It just becomes one. I just become hard. I used to do comedy for years. I didn't give a fuck. Now when I do 2 shows, when I get back to my room, John, and I take a shower, when I come out of there, it's like I roll for fucking 15 minutes. My whole body hurts. I become a fucking savage. I can feel that energy going from your toes,
the adrenaline,
and nothing else.
Commit,
It's commitment. That's got to be.
That's the word. It's commitment.
Close to.
It's the same. I think everything in life is the same. I think you can wrap up life as a whole in that little sentence we just said about once you're in the cage, you might as well win. Because you're in the cage anyway.
To people following their dreams and quitting the jobs, or even just being at a new job, like right out of college, and like being nervous, maybe I should go move back with my parents and work at the movie theater again. It's
all those thoughts. The difference is some people actually give up and do those things, and other people say, fuck it, I'm just going to go with it.
So how do you describe like the adrenaline drop that sometimes happens? Like, is it them not preparing, or is it just natural that when you start something new that you're going to fall a little bit? Like when you see that happen, what do you think?
When you say adrenaline drop, at what stage do you
like
mean?
when they're like first fighting the UFC, the cage. I forget what Rogan's term for it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of overwhelm, and I mean, this could happen in every entertainment industry you can think of as well. When you're put out there, you're really there, and that's the difference between the men and the boys, and sometimes that's the difference. There's a very small group of men, and there's a lot of boys in acting and in anything else that you do, because when you want it so bad, you finally get there, and when you're there, you're just one, you're probably not ready because you didn't prepare properly, which is key in everything, in acting, training, whatever, just preparing yourself properly. And two is you find out what you really got, is this really for me? When you're in a fight and you're getting hit in the face. I learned the best from fights that I lost. You don't learn from winning, you learn from losing. And some of the best fights I've had have been fights that I have lost. And the reason why is because, I like, for instance, 16 minutes into the fight when I'm getting hit in the face over and over and over, all I can think of is, I'm gonna win. I just gotta get this. I just gotta get. I never think I'm gonna lose. I think I'm gonna win. From the outside, it's like, damn, he's getting his face punched in. From my perspective, it's like, I'm gonna let him hit me in the face so I can get his ankle. Like, I'm thinking I'm gonna win until next thing you know, a TKO happens where referee stops you and says you're getting hit too much. But when I leave that fight, going, wow, man, and I was really truly ready to die at that moment, and not wanting to die, I thought I was gonna win till I lost, and that's when you can look back and go, I learned something about myself. And that is something that no matter what you do in life, that's who you are. And some people don't have that. Some people look for when they're winning, they're killing it. But when someone starts putting the pressure on them and they can't take it, that's when you see them fold. And that's who they are as well.
How much of it do you think for UFC fighters is technique that they learned, and then just like the other side is like them as a human and their willpower? And how much of that makes a successful fighter, do you think?
Well, first of all, I think majority of it is conditioning and being in shape. Because if you're not in shape, no matter how good you are, when that fatigue hits, it makes mice of men. You got to be able to fight past that fatigue. But I think it's just pretty much just being prepared, 100% prepared, and being able to weather the storm. There's a guy you guys all should all know named Frank Shamrock. He was a great fighter because he'd have fights like was a really great fight with him and Tito Ortiz. And it was the one in the UFC where Tito was dominating. He was one of the guys that I trained. He was great.
He fought him 3 times or twice.
Yeah.
3 times?
I remember a couple times maybe. I don't even remember. But it was this first one. That one Tito was bigger, stronger. And he was dominating Frank for most of the fight, But he just kept trying, kept going. And in the end, Tito made the mistake and he got out and he was able to finish. And Tito was tired and he was able to finish that fight because that's the difference. Is like no matter how down you are, you haven't lost until you lost, And a lot of people, once they feel that losing happening, they just accept it that they lost, and that's it. They did lose because the mind changes and you become the loser at that moment. But the greats are the ones that just still think they're going to win. Is denial or whatever you want to call it. They're going to win. They just got to figure out when their chance to win is. Whether they won or lost at the end of the fight, to me they won, because when you can come, give everything, give your best, give everything that you got, you can go home that day. You wish you won, but you can go home and go, man, I did the best I could do. Nothing is worse than going into there going, wow, why did I know I could have went longer, but I let the guy submit me, or I tapped because I was tired, or that's the stuff you can't live with. That'll last 25 years in your mind after that fight.
After I started stand-up, my life changed, because that's where my mind went. Mm-hmm. It went to a place of danger, and I like danger. I was a criminal, I like carrying a gun and climbing through somebody's window and kicking the door and seeing if they got an ounce or a kilo of coke. I liked that danger in my life. I did. I really liked it. Yeah. That's what got my dick hard, Then when you get in the car and you're driving, you're like, somebody could have got shot in that fucking room. It could have been me, or I could have ended up getting 30 fucking years for stupidity.
Right.
So as I was trying to get my life back together, I got into stand-up. And just that rush, that whole thing, like it overwhelmed everything. I think of now how I got off the drugs. And I got out of that mindset, and it was all through stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
It really fucking was. Just taking chances. And once I was in. Like in 1991, I thought I wanted to do stand-up. I got on stage. And I fucked around with it for 2 years. And I tell people this all the time when they send me emails. I didn't take to it right away. I was like everybody else. You suck. I fucking sucked. You know, I sucked. I had to talk to the audience. I sucked. But then in 93, 94, once 93, 93 and a half, 94 came, I'm like, I'm going for this. I have nothing else. I'm 30-something years old. I have nothing else going on. I'm not going to use my fucking degree. I'm not going to I got felonies. They're not going to hire me as a stockbroker. I'm not going to sell insurance. Didn't we check and see in fucking Colorado, if you have a felony, you can't even be an acupuncturist. I couldn't do shit. I don't give a fuck. You know me. I'll walk in and deny it to the end that I got felonies. I don't have no fucking, I don't know what you're talking about. But it was really the fucking stand-up because of that kind of, that getting your ass kicked every night and going back to this, you know how many times I cried myself to sleep after stand up as a man?
I hear you, man.
Because it wasn't going well, or?
Sure. You're in a fucking hotel in Moscow, Idaho, and you just bombed at a fucking college, and you're giving you $50, and you owe on the rent, and you owe $600 on child support, and your kid hates you, your wife hates you, your girlfriend sucking somebody else's dick.
Right.
And this is what happens. And now, but in the morning you wake up and you go, my kid could hate me. My wife could hate me. I could owe on the rent. But one thing I could control is I get on stage tonight and do a lot better than what I did last night.
That's right. You have control of that.
Broke as fuck. Living off a Subway veggie and cheese sandwich. And saying, fuck it. I'm going to go, you know what? Tomorrow I'll go get a job. Tonight, I'm going to go fucking do a lot better than what I did last night. But tomorrow I'm going to get a job. I'm going to quit comedy. But then you do so well that night that you go, fuck it. I just bought myself another fucking month.
Yeah, exactly.
And I get it. And I've transformed that attitude to jiu-jitsu. Like a lot, when I first started jiu-jitsu over here at the schools, a lot of young kids, they're killing me.
Right.
They're fucking killing me. Then my cardio sucks. Then I started working and I started saying, you know what? All I want to do is go in there and last 2 minutes today. And over the last 2 minutes, I leave there like the king of fucking Prussia.
Right. Because you're competing with yourself.
Yeah.
Not competing with that person.
No.
But you're better than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
That's it. That's it. Listen, the other day I went for an arm bar against somebody. I was laughing my ass off. I didn't even have the right arm. Didn't matter. I went for the fucking arm bar. You know why? Because what am I going to do? Not go for it until I get it? How I'm going to learn is by going for it. Right. How many times do I tell you when I suck ass and work on the car driving home? And you'll say, yeah, that joke didn't work. And I go, it don't matter. I said that thing on stage. So you go, what thing? And I'll say that thing. It didn't work, but I said it.
Well,
That's it.
You're saying exactly what I said. What you're saying is, I'm in the cage anyway, so I might as well win. And that's when and by the way, when you started explaining this whole thing, you started talking about the first part of your career in sucking, and you kept coming back. That's great. But a lot of fighters continue to lose and accept being losers, just want to make some money and keep coming back. That's not it yet.
No.
It's when you said, I'm 37, I'm blah, 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 blah. That's when you stepped in the cage. You said, you know what? I'm here anyways. Where else am I going to go? I'm going to really, and that's when you step to the next level. And that's when you step in the cage. I'm here to fight anyway. I might as well win, That's the simple thing.
It's such a great feeling. And this works if you're a fucking salesman.
Yeah.
The same thing as a salesman.
Anything.
Damn,
It's all the
I
same.
haven't sold shit in 3 fucking weeks. You know what? This is the week. If I don't sell shit, I'm quitting. Then you call some motherfucker who not only buys from you, but buys 80 fucking thousand of those things. And you were ready to quit.
Yeah.
You were ready to fucking quit. In the words of Sheryl Crow, why quit before, what's he say? Quit before the dream happens? Whatever the fuck he says. So how the fuck does BJ and all these people come in? When do they come in? As you're fighting?
Yeah, well, basically when I'm fighting. I opened my school in 1995 in Las Vegas, still open. And it was really cool because in '93 the UFC started. Royce Gracie was kicking everybody's ass, and I opened my school in '95, and there was no jiu-jitsu hardly anywhere in the world, not to mention in Las Vegas or Nevada. So I had the very first MMA Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school in Nevada. So every time he won a fight, the next day my school was packed. They had nowhere else to go. Like you said, this is it.
How many schools are there now? Probably.
Oh, I couldn't even begin to even tell you. Like you said, it's like a 7-Eleven.
There's 4. There's what? There's 4 within 10 minutes of here right now.
Yeah.
That's on the safe side.
4 good ones.
Gracie Barra, Alberto Crane.
No, but I'm saying it's
Marcelo,
not like a low level.
No,
Those are good. Those are all good
Marcelo over here. John Jock Black Belt. Mm-hmm. He's in Burbank from here, right on Cahuenga. And the guy in Santa Monica. He's a Hegan Black Belt. On 4th Street down there, Street Sports.
Yeah, I know there's also like Verdum's down there too.
Verdum's down there too, you know. But no, he has a school in Sherman Oaks. The partner has a little school right in Sherman Oaks. Sherman Oaks BJJ, right on Ventura. So
yeah, very common. Yeah, and there's a million affiliate schools like you're saying that aren't even great, but there's still jiu-jitsu schools, MMA schools everywhere. So yeah, but back to your question, you know, so basically I opened school. I'm fighting. I'm doing really well. So I started attracting people, you know, that like how I fight, and they come to Vegas, they try the school, they train with me, and they're hooked, and then it gets better and better. And then Chuck Liddell, basically a friend, same guy, One Kick Nick Blumgren, he brings Chuck to me and says, Chuck's going to fight in the UFC, you know, he's a kickboxer. He wants to work on his grappling and ground and stuff. Could you help? So I started training Chuck for his first fight, and I was with him for his first 12 years from then on. You know, I trained him from the very beginning when he was making $1,000 a fight, and you know, and I was.
So Hackerman was a striking guy.
Yeah, from a youth, even way younger than that, even But even during the first part of the UFC, John wasn't there as much. But then, you know, he started picking up, and then John was always there. But yeah, Hackerman was always been, when he was a young guy, his stand-up coach. So I was his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coach and grappling coach in general. He was a great wrestler, but what we worked with him for the first few years, if you watch his fights, he just is the kind of guy you couldn't keep him on the ground. You know, even if you get Chuck to the ground, he's right back up on his feet, and that's what we worked on. And that's what my specialty was as an instructor for martial art fighters, is that I don't bring you to me and say, just start learning my moves or my way, and this is all you're going to do, because that would be very generic. You know, that's what a lot of the schools do in jiu-jitsu. They teach. I would take the individual, Chuck for instance, who could wrestle and who could strike good. And even though my specialty was Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I've experienced in a lot of other arts at the time, two black belts in Shokundo and other things. I would say you need to, first of all, not even do Jiu-Jitsu. You need to first of all know how to defend Jiu-Jitsu, and you know how to get back up so you can strike again. So for the first couple of years, my biggest focus was simply getting off your back and getting back to your feet to do what you're already good at. Then over time we'll build you taking a guy down and passing his guard, and you know. But the big concern was to immediately fill holes that could help him fight now and get better. And that's what I could do for anybody. If I'd get a grappler who's really good on the ground, but he can't take guys down, then I'd be focusing on wrestling, taking him down, takedowns, how to use his stand-up, the basics, the hands, whatever, just to get to a situation that he can get the guy on the ground. So I was very, very good at strategy, and I'm very, very good at helping people understand, you know, what they need. You know, and I'm called one of the first mixed martial artists because, besides being in the very beginning of the game fighting, I was one of the very few people that had black belts in a lot of different arts and was very well versed. So I was able to take people out of their element. If I fought a boxer, I'd wrestle him. If I fought a wrestler, I'd box him. If I fought, you know, I didn't have to just do, at that exact same time, it was Hoist fighting jiu-jitsu against wrestling, jiu-jitsu against kickboxing. I could do all of it. So when I fought the Gracie kid, I was very good in jiu-jitsu already, but so was he. So that fight was me mostly staying on my feet and using my hands. Even when I took him down, I did real well, but I'm like, I know he cannot box with me. You know, I know I'm a better athlete than he was. So I was able to, in the very beginning, change that a lot, you know, change the game and become a martial artist. It was a mixed martial artist before there was a term for that, you know. And then it goes on and on into the story of how the Fertittas and Dana White and everybody even got interested in buying the UFC and how I trained them and all that, which is part of why they say what you said earlier about my legacy with the sport, is literally I put together the scenario that helped the Fertittas make that purchase and move on into buying the UFC. And at that time, the show was pretty much dead in the water. So my affiliation with Dana and the Fertitta brothers, training them for years privately before they bought the UFC, and bringing Chuck and bringing Tito and introducing them to all these people, simply because I wanted to make the private more exciting. So I bring BJ Penn and I bring Chuck Liddell as my friends. It got them so they fell in love with the sport, and through that, you know, meant the tap out guys, meant, you know, the UFC owners and everybody, and it ended up becoming what it is today. So I had a big hand in you know, getting it where it was. I believe when I was with Lorenzo Fertitta at first, he was on the boxing commission, and he was one of the ones that was trying to keep the UFC from coming to Las Vegas because it would hurt the boxing game. You know, he went from that to resigning as chairman and buying the UFC through our 2 years together. You know,
it's fucking interesting as shit.
Cool. Yeah.
That really is interesting.
it's kind of cool how you would think, well, like I have to beat them at what we're both good at, but why put yourself through that pain? And then sometimes fighters get knocked for it. Like, wasn't it like Brendan Schaub at a Metamoris or something? He just like laid on the ground, or like he wouldn't attack in jiu-jitsu, he'd only defend.
Yeah.
And people, spectators get mad, but as a jiu-jitsu person, you're like, he's really good.
Yeah,
when I attack, why would I put myself in danger like that?
Well, you know the thing. It's funny you say that, because there's this thing about the sport. Right now, it's evolved into an exciting place because everybody's so well-rounded. You know, they can stand, they can grapple, they can wrestle and stuff. But when I was training Tito, I mean, he didn't have his title yet, and I trained him all the way through his title when he fought Wanderlei Silva in Japan, and I was there in the corner, and I developed a strategy. Wanderlei Silva, a good friend of mine, he comes forward, just 1-2-1-2 forward, and very aggressive forward, and he commits, and he has bad intentions when he throws his punches. To me, bad intentions mean two things. One, if he hits me, he'll knock me out. Two, he's going to overcommit, so I can take advantage of that. So Tito, being a great wrestler, the whole strategy for me for Tito is basically go out like you're going to step in front of him, throw a couple techniques to make him standing, to make him want to punch with me, just to get him going. As soon as he commits, shoot under him, take him down, ground and pound him. They'll stand you back up again. Just do it over and over and over. And for the whole fight, he did that for 5 rounds, dominated every round. And you know, some people said, man, all he did is take the guy down and didn't. But it doesn't matter, you know what? Because he won the title, and from that day forward, became Tito Ortiz that we know today, the champion. You know, so they can grumble, they can say what they want, because they're sitting out there watching, never even trained, most of the guys. A lot of them are 16. But truth of the matter is, Tito had to make a career for himself and win. And as a fighter, you do what you got to do to win, and that's based on strategy. And that was the right strategy for that fight. You know, so it really is a mature mind. They can make those decisions and not get caught up in trying to make everybody else happy. You got to make yourself happy, and you got to feed your family first.
It's messed up though, because it is a business. So as a fan, you want like every fight to be like 2 Nick Diaz's against each other.
Of course you do. Yeah.
So does that play into it at all with the fighters when like their UFC is renegotiating their contracts, or they'll give you more money if you're more entertaining?
Well, what they did is they did those bonuses. Knockout of the night, submission of the night. That was how they did that, and that's what their answer to that was, to get it more exciting. Let's pay people, $70,000 more if they do a great submission, and that's enough to incentivize somebody, especially when the money's okay. So that was what they did. You're right.
When I used to walk out of Higgins and I'd see you teaching the MMA class, and one day it was just you and a dude, and you said, leave your gi on. Don't worry about it, just leave your fucking gi on. Let's do this. And he's like, well, I don't know. And you're like, just fucking leave the gi on. And you were teaching him. And I remember putting on my shoes thinking, how fucking interesting is this? That this guy, it's just another guy would maybe come in, stretch, and put you through the fucking nonsense. The kid was already warm. Mm-hmm. You jumped on him. And I was like so interested that this guy has worked with Chuck Liddell. He's worked with BJ Penn. He's worked with Tito. But he takes 5 minutes out to help a kid that's not even in this fucking class. That's why you're sitting where you're sitting, by the way. Because I think if I took the money away from this, you'd still do this.
100%. When I was fighting, it wasn't money. Yeah.
And I gotta tell you, man, I love doing stand-up comedy. You know when I hate it? When it's for money. When I go to the Comedy Store and I do those 20 minutes at night, they pay me $15, and my dick gets hard. My dick gets hard. I don't have to worry about it. I don't think about it. Sometimes I pick up my check. Sometimes I've never gone in there looking for a check.
Of course not.
The manager will see me go, and he'll just give us a bunch of checks. The other day, I was standing at the bar with Joe, and the manager gave him checks, and Joe's like, I never even take these. Like, they just go right back. They revert, like, you don't even think about it.
Yeah, it's not
my heartburn is when I have to get on a plane and do a door deal and worry about how many people in the audience I got to take leave with me to count. That's not stand-up. That's
no fun. Yeah.
That's something else, What happened to the days where I gave you $1.50 and I fucking showed up twice a week and you threw me through the wall, and at the end we stretched, and that's, I hate everything. That's corporate America today. That's it. If I'm not saying nothing bad, I'm just saying somebody like I just said that. Gracie Baja. You know, they're a union. They do whatever the fuck they do. You know, if I'm a kid and I don't have rich parents. You know, they charge $180 a month. I think that's $180 for a gi or whatever it is. You know, if I don't have the dough, I can't go there. You know, because it's corporate. That's what the rates are on paper. But a guy like you've been on the other side of the tracks. You're going, you know what?
Yeah. There's an exception.
Just leave in that sneaker what you got every month, and I'll take it. You want to learn. This guy really wants to learn. Where the other guy, you know, it's just business side to art always sucks for me. It sucks dick for me. It makes me feel shitty sometimes when I just can't walk in there and do a gig and just fucking go home.
Yeah.
You know, money and art to me have never really. It's a part that you want to do, but because you know, and some guy will give you all the dough in the world, come in training, say to you halfway, "Hey, hold on, I got to take a call."
Yeah.
And then somebody who'll come in and give you $15, and he's there 10 minutes before the class. Now he's already done 10 push-ups before you fucking walk in the door. You know,
that's worth my time.
Yeah, that's the one that you're like, you know what? Come next week. Well, I can only come once a week because my parents can't afford it. Just come fucking next week.
Exactly.
We'll work it out. You'll mop. You'll clean the fucking bathroom. You'll do whatever you want to do. What is your vision for this new place? This is Hollywood. You know, you're in Hollywood here. As you know, a lot of fighters have relocated to Los Angeles. You know, Southern California is it. This is it. Right. You know, Jersey's great, but, you know, you got Henzo and you got the kid down in Henry. What's the Brazilian in Henry with Tom, where Frankie Edgar goes? Yeah. The other guy, Alberto, he lost in the UFC. Crane is here.
No, Crane's here.
Crane's here. Alberto, he trains in Jersey, at Henry, New Jersey. Sure. Doesn't matter. He's a Henzo black belt.
Sarah out there.
Right. Sarah's in Long Island.
Great man.
But good guys. You got my man Marcelo Garcia in New York. Great. You got Draculino in motherfucking New York City. So New York's bouncing with jiu-jitsu, but this is it.
Yeah,
you know, the word on the street is, you know, New Mexico's got John Jones down there, but this is it. You got the schools in San Diego. You got the schools in Orange County, which are top notch. You got great trainers. I mean, what do you want to do?
Well, this school here, you know, is the Unbreakable Performance Center.
And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Everything's fucking
top of the line.
Everything.
Partners Jay Glazer from Fox, and then Brian Urlacher from Chicago Bears. And it's everything in this place, equipment-wise, just for conditioning, is top notch. I mean, cryo machines and hyperbaric chambers, and I mean, this is top of the notch as far as that goes. So we have clients like, you know, Usher and Armie Hammer and Jeremy Piven, and, you know, a great as well as every NFL guy you can see just training there on a normal basis, just normal cool people just training, you know. And then we have the classes as well now. So basically, I came in and I opened all the martial arts side of it, you know. So we're doing all that stuff. Kids classes starting as well. And my goal is really just to build a quality, high-end martial art facility that really people can get what they pay for, you know, not just, you know, it costs what it costs, but to make sure people leave saying thank you, I'm happy to pay this because you're giving me what I'm paying. People don't mind paying for something good if they really get what it's worth, you know. And paying for someone's name is one thing, which is a lot of people do in town. You know, I get to train with so-and-so. But nothing's better than someone paying and being grateful because it was such a good class. And that's my goal. If I don't leave the class with people saying, man, thank you so much. Every time I leave a class, I get texts from everybody saying, it's so great to train with you, John, blah, blah, blah. You know, and it's just, and they're not saying it because I'm John, because there's a lot of those guys in town. Like you said, in this block, we have a bunch of those great names. It's because the class was rewarding and they felt that I really wanted to be there, like you said, and I do really want to be there. So I just simply want to build a great school here, a great team. You know, we have privates, kids, you know, adult classes, everything you can think of. Just the conditioning is great there as well, and just do that thing, you know. And then my other passion, which is of course very, very important to me, is my acting career, which is why I left Vegas to come here. But gosh, you know, I'm in Hollywood training producers and directors, so it all works hand in hand, you know.
Hold that thought. Where's Tony Bennet, cocksucker? You're sitting there meditating, thinking about the Mexican girlfriend, how you're going to tear her up this weekend. I saw that.
I'm just thinking about how you ate a star with me and then pulled out that
the
weird
chocolate's only
triangle.
10 milligrams. I got a piece for you. Don't worry. It's sugar-free. That's why I want you to try it.
Forgot about Tony Bennett.
What? Are you kidding me or what? Fucking John Lewis is a savage and shit. Motherfuckers be flying through windows and shit.
Nice break.
The fuck? This is how we do it.
Yeah, I like this.
What do you think of the whole acting fucking thing?
Well, listen, I like it. I'll tell you why. As you know, I explained. Came from Vegas as a dancer. I was a guy on stage. Went from that to becoming, what I wanted to be is the rock star, the lead guy in the band, not the drummer, the guy, And I went from that into doing, I own my own fighting shows, my own fighting organizations as the promoter, and did all that. And then I have had and have an amazing business, celebrity talent booking agency, marketing director for casinos and clubs, and so I've always been the guy, an entrepreneurial guy that's always the guy, but always likes to be the guy in front. So I enjoy acting. I look at it as a new craft, the same way I found something I love again, like martial arts, where I really love the craft itself and studying and understanding the craft and talking with actors like yourself that has such experience, and that really moves me the way that someone coming to train with me in jiu-jitsu would move them. And I'm happen to be very talented as an actor, I think, and I've been doing very well. So to me, I love it.
Did you go to acting class?
I do, yeah.
Where at?
Yeah.
You still go?
Different places, yeah. I'm method right now with someone down in Santa Monica side.
Okay.
Yeah, someone from the actor studio in New York. But also Aaron Spires there, trained at his place for a while, in a master class there, and did the groundlings class courses and all those different things. And but a lot of my, with Mickey, I trained Mickey Rourke as well, so I learned a lot from Mickey, and he's been very, very helpful and generous with his knowledge, as well. So I just, I can learn from watching. I watch movie after movie after movie, and I pay attention, and I excel quickly in things. So, to me, it's my new passion, And
it's funny because the type of comedian I consider myself is like an MMA fighter, because I could act this shit. I love it. Especially now. Now I'm to a point where I'm very fortunate. When I get on the set, I know exactly what to do from A to Z. And Lee and I have had this conversation that very early, I was very lucky. I got big movies, a day here, right. 2 days here, which you watch. Unless you're a fucking Momo, you sit there and you watch what people do, and then you emulate it. You put a touch of yourself. Yeah. And then the most shocking thing happened. I also, when I first got here, I got a couple big things, but I wanted to get good like everybody else. So every Wednesday at 5 o'clock, I was on 7-Eleven on Sunset and Gardner, and I would get to backstage, and I would run home, and that night I'd go out and get all fucking do stand-up. But when I got home, I'd get a fucking grandma blow, and I'd do the coke, and I'd do the submissions for backstage. And I'd stay up till 6, and I'd get all creepy and walk to the post office and mail them. And then that night or the next day, they would call me first, because those small movies always only call 3 people per character. They're small. They don't even pay half the time. I just wanted to do it to get good, to get a reel, because in this town you can't do dick without a reel. And I kept doing it, and then I lucked out. Then you start fucking booking. I booked a couple of improv shows. I booked Mad TV. I booked a half-hour sitcom. I booked some fucking dramas. I booked movies as dramas, as comedy. I like doing the drama better than the fucking comedy, because on the comedy, I'm on a hook. I gotta do this shit. On a drama, I just gotta smack somebody or fly through a wall or get beat up or get handcuffed. That's my specialty. Get drilled by a cop, Mm-hmm. And now, like when I did Marin and Brooklyn Nine-Nine last year and shit like that, I just felt, I wasn't, I would get there and I'd feel my natural insecurity, which that always comes out. But then after a couple of minutes, I go, why am I insecure for? I paid my fucking rent. I'm not the fucking white belt with a stripe in the corner of this motherfucker. I'm sitting right in this motherfucking middle here. And having that attitude lifts you.
100%.
It lifts you. That's it. Like when I did Marin, I looked around. Marin is the show. When I moved here, what's the show that premiered last night? Saul?
Better Call Saul.
Okay, when I first got to this town, you know what the hot show was in town? His show with the other guy.
Breaking Bad.
No. This is fucking 18 years ago.
Oh.
He had a show on HBO with the dude with the glasses and shit. And every agent you talked to when you went to their office in those days would say, "You're a comedian. What do you think of this show?" And you're like, "Oh, these two fucking guys." And you couldn't call an agent after 4:30 on a certain 2 days because they were taping the show. So every fucking agent went to the show. Well, that show now is Marin. Everybody goes to Marin, every agent. So I'm sitting there and again, my inside, I said, "Fuck, I'm taking it to the fucking hoop." That's why Marin, I'm snorting blow in the episode. I'm going crazy. They're like, "We don't want you to do it, but we want you to know we have vitamin B here. Give me the fucking thing. Fill it up. Watch me snort vitamin B till I fuck." And you just go, you know. And I went home that night going, "You know what? I'm not just a comic anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a fucking actor."
I'm an actor.
Then you want to write, and that's the completion. That's the 3 disciplines mixed
what I'm
into
doing,
fucking one. You know, some mornings I wake up and I write a chapter in a book. Some mornings I wake up and I write fucking 3 fucking jokes, you know.
Yeah, I'm writing and I'm producing and all of it. I'm writing the scripts and I'm producing features. I mean, with my business background that I have, you know, I'm capable of. I'm not the guy that sits there waiting for my agent to call me and give me an audition. Like a lot of the things I've got have just been my own networking and my own abilities. And I want to write pieces that I like, that I want to be in. I'll put myself in a scenario in there where I'm working with the right people around me that's going to help elevate my game, but make sure they're where they need to be so I can make my money back. And you know, I get the business and I understand it very well, and I love the craft, man. You know, and leading man is where I want to be, not just, you know, act, but I want to, you know, once again, I want to be the lead singer of the band. I don't want to just be the drummer, you know.
I always thought about musicians that came out, did what you did, had a lead album, a great album, an album that sold, you know, and then one day just said, "Fuck it, I don't want to do this no more." Remember VH1 had that show where they showed Where Are They Now?
Yeah.
And they showed some pretty badass motherfuckers who took their money and opened up a painting company. That's how I always wanted to paint houses.
Right.
Now I paint houses, and you're like, "What the fuck? You were a man, bitch. What were you thinking?" But, you know, I think I could do the same thing every fucking week. I'm like, every time I go somewhere with my wife and I get pissed off now, a restaurant or something, I'm like, I should just do this and shut my fucking mouth and show these motherfuckers how it's done.
Just open up a competing restaurant?
Yeah, like fuck all these bitches up.
Yeah, man.
I had to go to my wife with her friends yesterday and the kids to eat Cuban food. I'm fucking Cuban. These people were insulting me. I mean,
wait, I think it's my turn. How did you get stuck with all that?
how what?
Going with your wife's friends to go to Cuban food.
Oh, I love my wife, and I know the girl. The girl's Cuban. Her husband is an actor, great dude. The kids are beautiful. I wanted to go too, but when I went, it was the place we went. It keeps getting worse and fucking worse. Every time I go, I got to bring my own fucking hot sauce and shit. Nobody has Frank's fucking hot sauce out here in California. I'm a Frank's type of motherfucker. Don't put that tortilla on my shit.
Is Frank's Cuban?
No, Frank is fucking a white dude from Buffalo. He invented the wing, cocksucker. That's who Frank is.
Oh,
Frank's hot sauce and shit. Louisiana style hot sauce.
But why would they have that at a Cuban restaurant?
Because that's what it calls for. It doesn't call for tapatio shit. That's for Mexican food, dog. I'm not insulting, no, but I'm just telling you, you got to pick a fucking flag. That's why I don't go to Chinese, Japanese restaurants. Fuck you, bitch. Pick a fucking flag. You can't do both. You can't do pork fried rice and sell fucking sushi. That ain't kosher. That ain't fucking kosher. That's any Jew. You can't mix fish and fucking pork like that, dog. No, I'm sorry. I get emotional.
No, I hear you. Yeah.
They try to fuck with Cuban food. It fucking pisses me off.
Yeah, man. No, but like you said, like what you said earlier, it's like when it comes to money and business and acting, it's like whatever it is you're doing, it's any good entrepreneur, any real legitimate successful entrepreneur will tell you that you just do what you're going to do and you do it the best you possibly can and the money will come. You don't do it for the money. You know, you focus on what you're trying to do, that you have a passion for, that you love, and you do it the best you can do it, and then the money will come if you're doing it right.
Was that for you? Was it that way for like the entire time, or did you have a switch? Because when you're young, it seems like at least for me, it's like all about the money, and because you have all these bills to pay.
That's normal.
Was it a switch? Like at what point were you like, okay, the money's not here, so I'll just keep doing it?
I mean, still got bills to pay, you know, but you got to love what you're doing. You got to love what you're doing, you know, and then it's not work. I don't get up in the day going, I have a full day of things that I'm doing for the goals that I'm trying to achieve. And trust me, if I told you them all, you'd think I was all over the place, although it all makes perfect sense to me. But it's every one of them are something I look forward to waking up the next day to do because it's something I love, you know. And if you do it right, then, you know, the repercussions come.
You know, you just have belief. I told 1,000 stories on here when I lived in an office. I lived in an office that was half of this in Seattle. $1.25 a month. There was no bathroom. You had to piss out the fucking window. I used to take showers at the gym down the street. I would go in there twice a day. Go in the morning, work out, take a shower, you know. That's when you know how much you love something. Because at that point you go, what am I doing? I could move home, work for my dad at the gas station, make a ton of loot, steal, fucking drive his car. But you're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do. This is what I believe.
Yeah.
It's a rough belief, man. It's tough to sell to people. People can't sell it to themselves, and that's why, just like you know, you have that picture of you, I don't know how many years ago, it had to be 15, Rico and Chuck with hair and Tito. So they were close then. That's when they were close.
One big team.
This was one big team. And what the fuck, you know, what do you say? 15 years later, you see these guys. Chuck went on to become one of the greatest fucking... Chuck inspired me. I went back and joined Kempo and lost 100 pounds because of Chuck.
I get it.
Whenever Chuck's in the room, dog, look at my face. I'm just fucking pale. And finally, one day I had balls to talk to him. He's very nice.
Yes.
Eddie introduced me to him.
Yeah.
He's very fucking nice. I seen him do some crazy shit. One time at a UFC event, like he just knocked somebody out. Like 2 weeks before, he walked into an event with a fucking baby carriage.
Yeah,
It was the fun. Everybody fucking was howling. He was like, "What, bitches?" He had this little baby carriage, and
he's just a human being like all of us, man, paying bills. You know, like when I was fighting back in the day, to give you an idea, the fight with Carlson Gracie Jr. This was the purse: 0 to lose, $4,000 if I win the title on pay-per-view. I didn't even. It could have been 1,000. It wouldn't have made a difference to me because I wasn't fighting for that reason in those days. I was fighting because I wanted to see. Okay, I've been fighting in the back of my yard. I teach at my school. You know, I had this thing on my flyers. It was anyone 6'6" or taller or 250 or heavier could train for free with me. And the reason I did that was because I wanted to fight against them. So I'd have, all kinds of people were paying for privates, but these guys could train for free because that was going to benefit me to test where I was. And then I met a gentleman named John Peretti, who was matchmaker for the UFC, Extreme Fighting, and he put me in some of these real shows when it just started. But to me, it was like an opportunity to fight someone who is definitely worthy of me fighting, to see how good I really was. I really was, and it was always about to better myself, to see how good I really was, and it's carried over. I retired probably 5 years before that real money started in the game, because it was never. That's why I started producing my own show, the WFA, the World Fighting Alliance, which the UFC bought from me for quite a bit of money 3 years later. I mean, but the reason is because I eventually said, okay, I'm not going to ever make money as a fighter. Fighters don't make money because, now is rough, but then you can't even imagine. Top payday in the world for the best fighter, which I was one of them, was like 20 grand, So I mean, what, 2 times a year, 3 times, I mean, what is that, So long story short is I started my own show, and I had this great concept called the World Fighting Alliance, where the Fight Club meets the nightclub. And I brought in John Huntington, who is a very popular club promoter. He did huge arena shows. And I did all the matchmaking. I was the president. I put it all together. He made sure that it had like laser lights and great DJs playing and go-go girls between rounds. It was amazing. Everybody would be there, including the Fertitas. Everybody would be there. And it was 17 and over. So it was hot chicks, and it brought a whole other demographic. It was like going out. It was like going out to a party, a nightclub with fights that were really good. And my fight, it was Rich Franklin, Frank Trigg, Marvin Eastman. It was real. It was top level.
What year was this?
This is gosh, man, I don't know, 15, 20. You can Google it. I don't even remember. Yeah,
sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was amazing. But it was after 4 shows, the UFC bought it from me. They bought it out, and we had Rampage, and they bought the contract and all that stuff too. So, but yeah, that was my thing. And then from there, what was really interesting is I went into the nightclub industry, because the gentleman I was producing with, he said, "Hey, I'm doing this little night over at the Palms. Once a week, you can come be a club promoter guy there with me, and it'd be kind of fun." I'm like, well, "What do I do?" And he's like, just invite people, get them on the guest list, bring them in. You can have a table and bottles." So I'm going there, and I started inviting people, and the turnout I had was hundreds and hundreds of people would come, and I realized, my success from the fighting really carried over. It's like if Oscar De La Hoya invited you to a party, you came. So I was like, man, this is so easy. Tons of people were coming. And it was, and then, of course, I was just, had my table and bottles, making a couple $100 for the night, nothing serious. and basically it was just popping off. And then eventually the individual my partner had a problem with the hotel. They sort of whole deal fell apart years later when we were the number one spot in Vegas. And within 3 weeks, it was dead, and that they couldn't keep it going. So obviously it was us. But so they called me instead and said, "Hey, listen, you were bringing most of the people anyways. Would you consider taking it over on your own, being your night?" And I was like, well, "Sure, let me check with John, because out of loyalty, you gotta ask my buddy." And he's like, "Go for it." So within a week and a half, it was popping again, more than ever. But now it was my thing now, and that 2,000 went to 3,000. 200 went to 3,000 a week, and then it just continued to grow until I ended up owning and started this company, John Lewis Entertainment Group, which is still in existence. Now it's an international company that deals with thousands of clubs, booking celebrity appearances internationally, and doing marketing for big casinos. But it just snowballed, and it never was my plan. But it's just doing things that you love. If you do it right, it just the fruits come. And that's how I've been. You'd be surprised at all the different full life careers I've been up until this point.
You brought something interesting up. Yeah. I always wanted to learn it. I always forget to ask, like when Rich Franklin. Who did we have? Not Rich Franklin.
Yeah.
Was it Rich?
I love Rich.
Yeah, it was Rich.
Oh,
what the fuck am I thinking? It was Rich, and we've had MMA Junkie, and we've had, I gotta ask you a question I've never asked anybody. I'm a hot UFC guy. I see the breakdown. Like 2 days later, they'll tell you what each fighter made, and that's just a percentage because that's not their sponsors or whatever.
Right.
Let's pretend I make $25,000 for the fight, and I get a $50,000 fight bonus. That's $75,000.
Okay.
I walk into fucking your school, and I go, "Take me to the fucking moon. You cover me for jiu-jitsu. You hook me up with some dude from Muay Thai. You hook me up with Dave for conditioning. When I get to 75,000, what do I owe you?
10% usually.
So 7,500.
Yeah.
So for 8 weeks, I give you a measly fucking 7,500.
Exactly. Well, you're talking about the best case scenario. The truth of the story is about, say you got a school that's based on fighters. You got 1 or 2 guys fighting in the UFC, and you got a bunch of guys that are fighting for $200-300 a week, training for 2 months before the fight. So obviously it's not about the money, because 10% of what, $500, right, for 2 months of work.
$50, right?
Exactly. So
okay.
So it's like that, but even worse, So
I thought the trainer made like 30%, maybe a lot more money.
Well, no, you can make 10 or 15% or whatever, but it's not a lot more than that, because there's still a manager, there's a trainer, the same as the business that we know. There's always different, there's a lawyer if you're trying to get professional. So it's once again, even the fighters that are making okay money, they're divvying it up. It's being divvied up.
You look at again, I'm a fucking freak, because I'm a comic, so I want to see gates. I'm always interested in gates. My business, my family business when you came from Cuba was the gate on the track. The numbers in New York City is the last 3 numbers of the pari-mutuels, what the track made for the fucking day.
Right.
So every night they'll tell you after a UFC fight, we made fucking $3 million. You know what I'm saying? So now you're telling me, on the other hand, they don't make that much money. And I know there's fucking tons of costs, man, when you put on a fight. People don't know. I mean, every time you see that UFC commercial pop up during fucking ABC Sports, on ABC at 6 o'clock, they fucking pay for that. They pay out the 100%. Fucking ass.
Yeah.
And, they do a great job of fucking marketing. They get it out there.
Yeah.
You if you click on to one UFC post, that's it. Every time you fucking click onto something, UFC's lingering. You can be something about people dying of fucking gonorrhea, and the UFC's in the corner. They'll pop up something fucking crazy. It's amazing.
A lot of money.
To get you hooked, there's a ton of fucking money. They put their name out there, man. So, and that's what I always get pissed off when people raise their hand that they don't get paid enough. But on the other hand, I know that there's a lot of cost involved. Right. And as a comic, it's like you said to me the other day, Joey, you sold this many tickets in this town. Why don't you just do a theater? Because it becomes something else. What if I do the fucking... See, the comedy club is a built-in thing, location. All they got to do is drive. They give me a percentage, blah, blah, blah. But a theater, it's all me. If a theater is 8 to 10 and I go long to 8:15, guess what? I'm paying for fucking 2 hours, but I only did 15 minutes. It don't matter. It's in 2-hour increments. Read the fucking contract.
Right.
There's 1,000 fucking costs,
Yeah.
And that's what Joe Public has never really taken into consideration. When the people start raising their hand, that's something different, but that's what you agreed upon.
Yeah, the thing is that there's different conversations with this, and it's always touchy for me because I'm both sides of the game. I'm a businessman. I've owned my own shows, but I'm also the fighter that wants to be paid for what I'm worth, and I see all the sides of it. I definitely think, we should work towards the fighters getting paid more and more. But at the same time, you're right, and also this is a business that the Fertittas bought to run as a business, and they spent $2 million of their own money when it was gone. That's how much it cost to buy. And when they were just about to quit, and I was there through all of this, they had spent $47 million in advertising, trying to make it go from the most bloody sport in the world to the sexiest sport in the world, doing FHM ads, Rolling Stone ads, just so much marketing. They were literally saying, let's throw the towel in, and that Forrest Griffin fight happened. And the Bonner fight, and all of a sudden a spark of life showed that maybe we should hang a little longer, and now here we are. So it's just so much money, you're right, going in to make this thing what it is today. If they didn't do that, the fighters would be making nothing, because probably UFC wouldn't have lasted. It would have been gone, So, but it's easy to forget that over time. And the next thing about it is very expensive to run a show. I don't know exactly their percentages are, who's being paid what, but the real problem with the show is the monopoly they've had on the business. Being that it was you don't want to be the one that gets on the bad side when the only show in town is that, because what's your other option? So it's easy to control contracts and purses and things of that nature when there's nothing else. But the game's changing. There's Bellator now. There's the World Series of fighting now. They're actually contenders. Bellator is going to be around. So that's going to help the game a lot, because there is another option, and those things over time are going to naturally help. But if people compare to the NFL or to boxing and how much money people make in boxing,
right?
But let's think how long boxing's been around.
But it seems like UFC is way more popular than boxing now.
But my point is that my point is not that. My point is that if you're judging apples and apples, you're judging a sport that's the UFC bought maybe 15 years ago. The Fertittas bought, they went from pretty much zero to this in that amount of time, even though it's been around before that. And you're saying they should be making the same amount of money as boxers, but that sport's been around forever. And by the way, amateur fighters fight for free a lot, and sometimes for $200 in boxing. Or the lower level fighters. Just Pacquiao and Mayweather, the main fights getting the big chunks because they draw the purse. So there's a lot of sides to it, like you're trying to say. It's not as cut and dry as it seems. No,
it's not. I do comedy,
and it's a business.
It's a fucking business. You know what? Listen, I love to fucking go through my records and see who fucking shortchanged me. And go back and say, hey, motherfucker, you shortchanged me 10 years ago. I'm going to take you to court and all that stuff. But you know what? At the time, that's a deal I took.
Yeah, you took the deal. Right.
Somebody came up to me about a year ago and said, you know that your CD sells when you go to the Army over there in fucking Iran, Iraq. They have little fucking huts and people go in there and buy stuff from commissaries. And some CD I did with Jeff Garcia and Felipe's over there. They sold 400,000 copies of that fucking CD. You know how much I got? 1,500. That's what I agreed to. Yeah. In my coked up mind, that was what was going to save me. So I knew what I was doing at the time. I knew I was going to get fucked in the ass, but I did it anyway.
Right. And that happens in every industry.
Music industry. Every industry.
It happens everywhere.
Every industry. I just read this book, my friend Mauricio Alvarado, about Black Sabbath, that they didn't make no money. 9 albums, 8 albums, they didn't make a fucking dime. The guy would give him a car from time to time. You think I bought your car. There's a car around the corner. Think of the people who got robbed. But in your haze and your love for what you're doing, it just not the. I don't know. When you're involved in something, this is what you do. Yeah. Then years later, you wake up and you get pissed off or whatever. And we all have bad feelings. Let me give some shout outs.
Yeah, do that.
And we'll get you the fuck out of here. What's up with you, Dracula? Look at you.
What's up, buddy?
There, give me the evil eye, the fucking
I just can't believe you have like a buffet going on of edibles today.
I just, this is what they gave me,
That's the scariest bag in the world.
What are you going to do? I don't travel light. I ain't got time to dilly-dally. I'm like fucking John Lewis over here.
Do you ever sleep, John? I can't imagine you
John, don't sleep.
Yeah.
Right? John ain't got time.
You take like a special shot that gives you like 5 minutes of sleep and you're good.
But I do sleep for like 4 or 5 hours, and I'm happy. I'm good. 5 hours, but not like I just wake up and I'm ready to work. I'm ready to start my day and do something.
He thanks the Lord. He don't dilly dally. He ain't playing fucking Call for Duty. He lives it. You know what I'm saying? Why fucking play Call of Duty when you can live it? Okay. Jump off a fucking building and start your goddamn day. Stuart Cole out there in London. I love you, cocksucker. Happy birthday. I know it's something going on with you. I just forgot right now. Lloyd, the Fly the Wave, Blake Mayor, Juan Nunez, Ricky McLean, Aaron Heath, Radcliffe Yates, Clayton Webb, Ryan Cavazos down there. I'll see you next week, cocksucker. Alex Z and James Hewlett. Stay black, you fuck. You know I love you.
What's up,
What are you looking at me all creeped up for?
Because your eyelids finally look as fucked up as mine do.
No. I went swimming today. I was jumping up and down.
Your eyes are small.
I know, God.
He's fucked up. I gave him one of the stars of death. That's one of the ones they shot at Bruce Lee at fucking at Fist of Fury in the second.
You called me and said people were at the dispensary and they were asking if these were the stars that you get me fucked up on.
That's right. Two little fucking.
Killing me.
I gotta do it, John. If not, he sits around. He don't want to do nothing. He plays that fucking Call of Duty 6 hours a day. He plays that shit.
Yeah.
I wish.
I'm gonna blow up that fucking game one of these days. I call him in the morning. What are you doing? When is the grand opening, my brother?
We're gonna pick a hard grand opening in the next few weeks. I'd like to definitely let everybody know to look up some of the social media to follow that and find out.
Let them know.
If you don't mind me saying.
No. Throw it out there.
So I'd love you guys to come follow me on Twitter. It's just at John Lewis MMA, real easy. You can kind of see all the updates and what I'm up to, and follow the everyday exploits of striving entrepreneur. And Facebook, it's just / John Lewis Fighter. Instagram, John Lewis MMA as well. And the website is johnlewismma.com. So it's all pretty easy. But you can see we're open now. You can come train now. You can come into the school. You can find the information on the website. There's also a number you can call. My partner David, his number is 310-258-0786. That number's for giving you more information about the school. But come and get signed up, and then when the grand opening happens, we'll have Chuck there and Tito there, and Randy and everybody will be there, and it's going to be a real big shindig. So.
You're a fucking savage. You see what I'm saying? Lee's going to come down. He's going to do some jumping jacks.
A little bit of rolling.
Lee's a savage.
Cryo machine and
Lee, you have no idea. Lee's a wrestler in high school, state champion.
No, it wasn't.
Oh man,
I was never a champion.
Let me bullshit the man. Shut your fucking mouth. I'm trying to tell you. I can't tell.
And open your eyes too. Open your eyes.
That's not gonna happen.
What do you got the rest of the day, Lee?
No, nothing. That's why I went to the gym before this because I knew I was gonna get fucked up.
How many calories you got left?
Huh?
How many calories you got left?
I don't know. I haven't put the lunch in yet.
We got this cryo machine over there. It's awesome. It takes you down to minus 240 degrees for like 2 minutes, but it burns 900 calories just standing still.
What?
It's and it also is great for your joints and everything.
You burn 900 calories standing
just
still.
Standing still, man. So you can come
So
down there. You
when
can
you do
come
this?
there. You can take one of those things, come down, just stand, burn 900 calories, and then you go home, play
minutes,
Call of Duty.
So 2 minutes you stand there.
And, well, it's not that easy. It's cold, but
like a motherfucker.
You can make it.
How cold is it?
Go to 200,
but wait a second. A minute is 450. That's what you got to stand on that bicycle for an hour for.
I know. Wait. So how long could you stay there? Could I stay there for like an hour a day?
You probably get frostbite and die.
Fuck that, Lee. You could do it. You're from Boston. You ain't no fucking
900 calories.
You ain't Hawaiian
2 minutes.
Shit. Tell him, Lee.
That would take me like an hour and a half.
Wait, how many fucking? Tell him, honey. It's the snow is falling.
Like 6 foot. My mom keeps shoveling. And my younger brother lives there. And they won't let them like leave. There's a parking on the street ban. There's a driving ban unless you're like a state employee. So she's been shoveling all day, every day.
My wife left CNN on, and it was on. I was in the kitchen with the baby, and I heard some lady going, "It snowed 71 inches
in like 2
3
weeks.
Days or something fucking ridiculous."
I'm from Hawaii, so
and I'm hearing this, and all of a sudden, like I straighten up, and I'm like, "What's he fucking bitch?" There's always somebody on TV bitching. I did the math in my head. I'm like, "That's fucked up."
Yeah,
like 71 inches in 3 days or something crazy.
I think it's like 2 weeks. I think like the last 17 days.
Oh my fucking God. And it's 19 degrees this morning in
and
Jersey.
It's snowing again right now.
My friend's like, yeah, it's 19 degrees today. It's warming up. What? I went to the fucking park with the baby. I had to put shorts on and shit. I got bit by some bug because I had shorts on and shit.
It's definitely much better out here.
Yeah, no, I can't go back. And fucking Hawaii, they don't even give a fuck.
No, Hawaii.
All you do all day is do a couple jiu-jitsu, eat some pineapple juice, and wait for a fucking tsunami. That's
Go
it.
to the beach, wait for big waves.
I've actually heard from people who like were born in Hawaii, if they were white or like not native, they didn't like it. Like
Howley?
They just as someone who's never been there, when you think Hawaii, you think like paradise, and it would be great to live there. But then I've heard a bunch of people say it's not that great a place to grow up.
Why do you think after fist fights every day?
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
So you just gotta beat people up, and you'd be all good.
Oh God.
Good thing you're a wrestler.
No. I was in a couple fights.
No.
But no, I don't want to be in fights every week.
They're gonna kill you in that fucking car. You're gonna be driving.
Hawaii is a great place.
That happened to me. You know, listen, man, and it's tough because sometimes you get sucked in. I was coming home from the ice house one night, minding my own business, just driving, and some guy pulled up next to me, and he was lurking. I don't know, maybe some people have bad days.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what the fuck they're going through. They had bad days. They sat next to me. Finally, I was in the express lane. I'm not even supposed to be in that lane.
Right.
That's how late it was. It was 10:30, 11. I'm not drinking and driving. I don't drink and drive, so I don't even drink. So I'm just driving. I look at the motherfucker. He's giving me the fucking finger. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? And after a while, I'm like, you know what? Fuck you, bitch. And all of a sudden, they start looking at me, giving me like eyes and shit. So I had a bunch of pennies in this chink. I opened up my window and I threw it this way, and I heard this car go. That motherfucker drove down that 134.
He didn't know what you were doing. He didn't know what hit him.
Fuck no and shit.
He didn't know what that was.
And by the way, to give you people a follow up, I haven't talked to my daughter in like 15 years. So it took me like a fucking 6 months to draw the courage up to call the house. You know, for her birthday. She's 25.
Okay.
I haven't talked to her. She was like 15 or 16. So I knew there was going to be either some type of drama or I wouldn't hear back from them. And then I hear back from them like a year with some story or something. Listen, I've been through all of them. They never called back. Not one time did they call back. Not even a fucking postcard, nothing. So now I got to call them back again. I got like 100 emails, which is very supportive of you people.
You're going to call them back now?
Yeah, I got to call them back. That's it. I got to fucking reach out now. I'm in.
Oh, shit.
Now I got to fucking bite into it. This is my kid. You
You got to do it.
Got to do this shit. And for a long time, I was scared. I was really like, I don't want to call over there. But now I got the baby. I got a 2-year-old. And I think every fucking day when I'm with the 2-year-old, you know. So
yeah, I got my 6-year-old. There's nothing more important to me. So I feel you, man.
And you have him.
Yeah, my boy.
3 nights a week.
Yeah.
And then the other nights he goes back to Vegas.
No, his mom's out here too.
Oh,
so, yeah, so,
you get along with the mom?
100%.
See what I'm saying?
It's no worries. Yeah.
Fucking peace.
Support of each other. He's coming back from Disney World today. He's been over there partying in Disney World, I should say, in Florida. So he's been having a good few days vacation.
Fuck it. You've been out here jumping up and
doing
down, getting people in arm bars. Let me get some shot and we'll get the fuck out of here. What time is it, Lee? Holy shit. I want to give my main motherfuckers over there at IronDragonTV.com. Listen, these people ain't fucking around. I got some secrets to tell you in a couple weeks, but Iron Dragon TV is not fucking around. This is just the beginning, motherfuckers, all right? Go to Iron Dragon right now for classic martial arts. The other day I was on that El Rey channel, and they had the one-armed swordsman, the return of the one-armed swordsman. I taped all of them, and I remembered how much I enjoyed watching classic martial arts. The movies are so fucked up and so unbelievable. You just sit there and go, what the fuck is happening? But fuck it. This is how good this movie is. I love it. It's just confusion. You don't know what the fuck they're saying. It's overdubbed.
Kung Fu Theater was
Kung Fu Theater was a fucking bomb everywhere. Yeah. So stop sitting there like a mook. Oh my God, the Academy Awards. Did you see the Grammys? Fuck you. Here it is.
You didn't go to any Grammy parties?
Fuck yeah. Nobody fucking listen. Even if they invited me, I wouldn't go down there and walk around and watch Kanye West assaulting people. I don't need that shit in my fucking life. You understand me? That's why I kill a chicken once a month. That's why. I kill a chicken once a month in my backyard. Nice. I give it to the saints and I move on. I don't need that shit.
Okay.
Sure. That's why you're in such good shape, because I pray for you, cocksucker. IronDragonTV.com. You get 2 free movies when you put in the box.
Joey.
Oh shit, Joey. Get 2 free fucking classic kung fu films. They got tons of genre. The Ip Man series. They ain't fucking.
And they got new stuff too.
And they got new stuff on a daily. Number 2 on it. I love you, motherfuckers. Without you, I wouldn't even live. If it's not the Alpha Brain, the fucking Strong Bone, the Shroom Tech Immune, the Shroom Tech Sport. I get on a plane. I pop 2 Shroom Tech Immunes. I can fucking sit in the toilet seat and rub my dick on the fucking thing. Nothing. I go home, no rashes, no fucking itch. No
Impressive.
No nothing. No Ebola. I've told you this before. If you take fucking Shroom Tech, no Ebola, cocksucker. Listen, do me a favor. Go to honor.com right now. Go through their products. There's something you like. There's something you not like. I can't get you 10% off on the ropes and the fucking kettlebells. But as far as the nutrients, I get you 10% off today. What I got to press?
Church.
CHURCH in the box. You get 10% off, all right? I don't fuck around. That's how I roll. Number 2, Hitty Cigs. I've been smoking a cigar all fucking day here. Whether it's a cigar, whether it's a cigarette, it comes in 24, 16, 8. Boom! There you have it. You can quit in a fucking month. You don't have to hang out with stinky fucking fingernails. You can't stick your finger up somebody's ass when it smells like nicotine.
That's terrible when you can't do that.
What the fuck? That's the whole patois. You know what I'm saying? When they're sitting there looking like a popsicle and you're watching ESPN. Who's better than you? Anyway, HittyCigs.com. They ain't fucking around. They also have this cigar if you want to go to Atlantic City and be a big shot down there with the Puerto Ricans. Knock yourself out. Go to HittyCigs.com right now and press in.
Joey's Church.
Oh, shit. Bang that motherfucker. Get 20% off. You know why? Because that's how I roll, cocksuckers.
Sitting there looking like a popsicle?
Sure. You ever think when you finger somebody's asshole, they're like a popsicle. They're sitting there frozen.
Oh, man.
What do you think you're dealing with, Lee? Some fucking novice? You think I just wake up and wakey doke on Lancashire all day? I'm slinging dick, dog. I'm telling you right now. Oh, shit. You want to smoke that vape? You're sick of smoking reefer? Go to naileditlife.com. They'll fucking take care of you. They got pens, they got whistles, they got sticks that you can burn with it. They got blow torches. Listen, burn the bitch like Rick James. I don't give a fuck. You understand me? Go to naileditlife.com. They ain't fucking around. They got the best vapor pen in the business. They guarantee it. And just if you mention
Joey Diaz.
Oh, shit, you get 20% off like a motherfucker. That's how we roll over here at church, giving you discounts on vapor pens, blow torches, sticks with, I don't even fucking know. Hitty Cigs, tremendous. One of the best fucking, and you know what I love about them the most? 1,200 guaranteed puffs. I'll be smoking this cigar till the next fucking doomsday. You understand me? You know why? Because it's quality, and that's how I roll. Iron Dragon TV. What can I say about Dave Foley knocking it dead? Cousins with Steve Foley from Woukd, there it is, and Honor.com and shit. Right now, giving you 10% off lead. Stop rubbing your eyeballs. You're not calling Uber. Look at how high you are. Eat a piece of the cookie. That'll bring it down.
No, it won't.
It'll bring you down.
I'm glad you didn't take any because I feel like you lose your entrepreneurial spirit.
And you don't even understand. I brought you this special joint. This is, this is what they gave. I don't even know who they gave this.
You become a
Burned his eyes and shit. Like 6 melon salt.
You become a
between rounds, so we use it between rounds.
Oh, yeah. That's what Stitch got in his pocket. I love you. John Lewis, congratulations.
Thank you very much, my friend.
I know the reason why you're here is because I can tell you really give a fuck about these kids. You really like what you're doing. And Dave's the master disaster. Dave's got me doing tremendous fucking things. Lee, what's the story?
What's up, buddy?
You're not coming to Austin. You're staying home. Why are you excited for Valentine's? Tell John Elliott. What are you doing Valentine's Day, you and the wife?
John Lewis.
What do I call him? John Elliott?
You can call me whatever you want.
John Lewis.
As long as you call me. It's all good.
But we've been on a diet for like 8 months, so we're going
80 fucking 8 pounds. Look at him.
Wow, congratulations.
Well, thanks, but we're gonna mess it up. We're gonna go to we're gonna get a burger from In-N-Out, wings from Buffalo Wild Wings, and then dessert.
Are you gonna split a burger from In-N-Out? You're not gonna get a whole one on your own.
I don't know, probably not.
Yeah,
are you gonna buy it and take out and bring it to In-N-Out?
No, we're gonna go to all
place
three places.
All 3 places.
And spend some time, quality time at each spot.
Yeah, but we were gonna go see a movie, but there's literally nothing out, so I think we're gonna do something else in between.
Like what?
I think I'm gonna take her to the museum. I think she wants to go to the LACMA.
Let's take her to the car and make out with her. like old school, feel up her titties, and you get that appetite going. What do you think?
We will.
You think you're just gonna eat a fucking cheeseburger and you're gonna be into your wings 10 minutes later?
No. It's all throughout the day. It's not like in an hour.
Bring like a bunch of plastic gloves, like you're a surgeon and shit. Bring it back to the fucking car and work that motherfucker.
What am I doing with the plastic gloves?
Nothing. You jerk off and come in your own hand and take the glove off and you throw it away in case of your sideshow stuff. You're not pulling an OJ. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking to you here from the heart.
Sounds like a romantic Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day. Women like to give hand jobs and suck dick in cars. That's what they do on Valentine's Day. You're going to get her flowers too, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then. What do you think? You just give her the flowers? Fuck no. You put it over your helmet. As she goes to get the flowers, you pick up the helmet. That little Jew roll is out, ready to squirt. You know what I'm saying?
Your eyes are.
I love you guys. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow night. Stay black, stay beautiful. Thank you, John Lewis. You know I love you.
Thank you, friend.
Don't forget JohnLewisMMA.com. That's where it all starts. Go on there and see what this motherfucker's done. He's a true savage. Lee, get it together.
All right. Go to onnit.com.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go. This fucking...
You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
I was.
You can do it.
I don't know why you interrupted me.
Jesus Christ.
Go to onnit.com. I'm going to mute you. All right. Go to onnit.com. Use code word church to get 10% off of all their optimization products.
I'll tell you something real quick for you people who want to be my friends on Lictidium, whatever that website is. I don't want to know nobody, all right? Leave me the fuck alone. Every time I go get an email, I think it's something important. Somebody wants to be my name on LinkedIn, whatever the fuck it is. Some professional network. I don't want to know you people. Because if you're in down there, you don't know nobody anyway. Leave me the fuck alone. I want to hang out with another bunch of losers that ain't working. Get the fuck out of here. Leave me alone. I don't want to be friends with nobody, all right? Everybody always bothers me from that Linkle John. I don't even know what the fuck it is. A network of professionals. Then why are you bothering me for? I'm a fucking felon. Leave me alone. You're not even supposed to be mingling with me. What the fuck is wrong with people, John?
Oh, I hear you, man.
Fuck LinkedIn.
Go ahead. Hurry up. You're going to read this.
That's for your next shirt.
Huh?
Fuck LinkedIn.
Fuck Lincoln. Whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know these people.
Hopefully people listen to these.
Huh?
Oh, you're killing me right now.
Okay. Go to IronDragonTV.com. Use code Joey to get 2 free rentals of all the great martial arts movies they have. For all the oil and wax smokers out there, go to NailedItLife.com and use code word Joey Diaz to get 20% off of the premier vapor pen on the market. And I'm going to survive and to hit e6.com. Better tasting, longer lasting. Proof is in the vape. They have e-cigarettes and e-cigars. Use code word Joey's Church to get 20% off your order.
Oh shit! We'll be back tomorrow night, bitches. 8 o'clock your time, hopefully. Yeah. Lee, you gotta get the roses and put them by your zipper. That's old school. Or before she gets the roses, you gotta take your pocket and cut it off, and then put your dick by the pocket and tell her to go in your pocket to get the car keys, and boom, she feels that little juice stick. It's over. You know what I'm saying? It's like a Jew Slim Jim. That's what we.
I feel like this is like the opposite of what they would want for Valentine's Day.
Stop. Will I give you fake romantic fucking info?
I think you would.
As long as he can reach the pocket, you gotta reach
right.
you gotta be able to reach the pocket.
That's right. You gotta put that helmet. Kick that motherfucker, Lee. Kick that motherfucker. This is the devil's cousin playing the guitar. Let's do this. Xiaomi. Let's do.